Hi there, friends of Serge and analog synthesis. I'd like to dedicate this video to my friend Paula from Gothenburg, who's equally interested like I am in analog and digital side by side. This is a continuation of my video on beefed up oscillators in the Serge system. Oscillators with a strong timbral feature that sound richer than average oscillators. I'm starting by looking at the smooth and step generator up here, which is a classic Serge module with two sides, the smooth and the stepped. And the first sound we're going to get out of it is basically using this module on its own without any other extras. We'll just listen to it stationary, as it were, for a moment. We can see that I've patched it up so that I have the main oscillator side, this side, which is the one that's providing the output, and then I'm listening out of the hot output, which is the bipolar version of the coupler output. You can use the coupler output just as well here, but the coupler output is a little less strong in volume and it's unipolar. So what I've done is put both sides of the smooth and step generator into cycle mode, which of course on the old Serge would require you feeding them back on themselves, using the cycle into the in, and cycle into the in. But here we can do it with a switch. And this is the side now that's providing the pitch, and this side is the side that's providing the phasing effect. And the further we get away from the basic pitch here, the less subtle the phasing effect will be. This side won't really operate unless it's sampled by something. So I'm using the coupler from the left hand side into the sampler. The coupler is a comparator on the output of the two, so the comparator is driving this, as it were, in feedback, you could say. Okay, and the more we take, if we have these two frequencies close together, then we have a phasing effect, a bit like having two oscillators close together. And of course that departs from it the further you go away from it gets into a modulation phase. And then some funny things start to happen the further away you get from the And if you take the pitch of this down somewhat, so there's a much wider pitch, it gets much noisier, and you can get some very strange bubbling noises out of it. So lots of funny sounds out of this oscillator. For example, there we're getting some kind of little tweaky noises out of the top end of it. So I'll just put a little something in here to control the. First, I'll control the side that's doing the phasing, which is this side, and just modulate it a little bit with a sequencer pattern. And that can give us a variation on the twittering. But I could just as easily, of course, modulate the basic pitch, which is this. of course, I can modulate them both. Okay, now we're going to look at a slightly different patch, which is striking in its simplicity. We look at the smooth and steps generated from a different perspective altogether. We'll just have a listen to what sound it's making out of the hot output, which is what we were using previously for our phasing oscillator. So it basically got the same thing running here. If we put this into cycle, we should get a similar because if we wanted to get back to where we were before, then we'd have to put this in and get the phasing out of it. That's an alternative. Anyway, but let's take that out for a second and just listen not to the output of the smooth and step generator hot, but let's listen to the output of a new Timbral oscillator. And we've got the output of the hot is going to the sync input of the this oscillator is producing a lot less levels, so I'll have to turn it up a bit. But basically, as we sweep the new Timbral oscillator, we're not actually sweeping the pitch. The pitch is coming from here, from the this is what's controlling our pitch. This is the pitch that's the oscillator is syncing to. But what we're hearing from this is a beautiful sweeping sound, which is just like the sweep of a filter, except that it doesn't sound quite like a filter. It's somewhere between a filter and a wave multiplier, which is the kind of archetypal, say, Serge Timbral effect. But we're getting this lovely filter type of effect because we are syncing the new Timbral oscillator very hard from this rather hot output. So if we take you can see what happens if we go back to our original phasing. Now the sync signal is not at all so steady. So we're getting some really nice Timbral qualities from this relatively unstable sync, but we still got the basic same effect, filtering type of effect coming out of the oscillator. We can of course sweep the oscillator frequency using a USG. Whoa! That's quite fast and quite broad. Let's take it, sweep it slower. But as we said, this is really the thing that's giving us the basic pitch. In the Eurorack version of the smooth and stepped, these have a very wide frequency range. If you want to get the same frequency range out of this smooth generator with the old Serge, you'd have to push it a lot with extra voltage from a dual processor, for example. You'll get it. You'll still get quite a wide range of Okay, so those are some of the kind of sounds you can get out of the smooth and stepped generator syncing the new Timbral oscillator. Have a lot of fun with these extra Timbral effects.